Hey YouTube, welcome back to The Practical Life. This is Ashley Nicole. Thank you for joining another live. It is a little bit earlier, um, early, right? I normally would go live. Really, y'all, it's been odd times. I ain't even gonna lie. Um, but the past few days, have been set aside to prepare, right? And it's to prepare for one of, or the topic that we're going to talk about today. So, first of all, just a little bit of an introduction. This channel is all about mental health. This is where you can get your questions answered for yourself or someone else. Or if you're trying to learn how to manage your mental health in the workplace, whether you work for a corporation, you are self employed, you're a content creator, things of that nature, I am the person for you. All of my information will be in the description box below. So, yeah, I wanted to come to talk about this. And secondly, this video, anything that I talk about or images I use is fair use. I know I talked about the YouTube mommies the other day and kind of gave my reaction to that. But I want to make sure that I preface this video by saying that I'm reacting to a video objectively, right? So what does that mean? That means that my personal feelings and my opinions are outside of what I'm saying because I don't know this person, right? I don't have any personal dealings with her. I'm just reacting to a video that I saw on YouTube. So just want to make sure that everyone understands that. And you all could probably tell if you have been watching a lot of my lives and my videos, consistently. I'm very serious about my profession. And, it means a lot to me to change the idea that we have about mental health, right? To reduce that stigma, to ensure that mental health is not a taboo topic and that it's okay to talk about it, right? So I thought it'd be best because I'm also in an area where, I'm right now in this moment being impacted by the storm, Hurricane Ian. And so I thought, it'd be best to kind of, talk about how your mental health can be affected when there's a natural disaster or when a storm is on its way. Because a lot of people, I think we really kind of thought about it when Hurricane Katrina happened. And we all know that that was just devastating. And it's still devastation from that storm. I can remember during that time because we know people in New Orleans were displaced, right? And there were people being moved to other places. I mean, they went to other cities on buses and all that stuff, right? Um, and I remember during that time, I can't know, I don't think I was doing in-home therapy. I may have been doing some individual therapy with adolescents at that time. But I think I was doing some home visits. But there were a few families who moved to Florida and just kind of hearing their stories. And I remember one family, it was a lot of kids. It might have been about 6 or 7 kids. And the parents were together. They had to be displaced. And so when they moved to Florida, it was kind of like, at first, those initial feelings about moving from your home, because you got to think you are leaving your home, right? The place that you've always known, a place where you feel safe and secure, right? You know your surroundings and things like that, right? And now you have to move to a whole new place. You don't know anybody. You have to start a new school, and things like that. And so I think some of the kids were experiencing behavioral issues in school and things like that. And so they referred them, I think the school counselor referred them for individual and family therapy. And so that's how I was kind of able to see them. But storms and hurricanes and natural disasters, they can affect the mental health, y'all. Again, look at Hurricane Katrina, other hurricanes and storms that have happened on the coastlines, right? People have been affected, and you got to think about how it will affect them mentally. So I'm going to be reacting to Liv's Life's video today, but this could really be for anybody who has experienced being in a storm or a natural disaster, who has experienced losing anything due to a natural disaster, and also the anxiety response, anyone that has experienced that based on, leading up to, because that's the kind of like the place we're in now, right? Like me, I'll tell you guys right now where I am. You can't tell because I have these lights or whatever, but it has been raining. Was it raining yesterday? Because usually anybody knows before like a storm, or like if you think about a tornado and things like that, it's always a calm before the storm, right? And that's kind of how it was the last couple of days. Like the sun was out, it was sunny. It may have been a little bit cooler outside because you got to think we're in Florida, y'all. Now, if you're in northern Florida, like closer to Georgia, closer to Alabama, like that, they get a winter, right? Where they probably will wear coats. Sometimes in Orlando, it gets really cold, where they have to have jackets and they wear sweaters and stuff. But where I am, it's hot all year round. Now, like I said, I think one of my car chats in January, you might get a few days. You may get a few days here and there where you can wear your little jacket, your little cute boots, or something like that. But other than that, it's hot, right? So you gotta take that in consideration, even when you think about, if you've seen any documentaries on Hurricane Katrina. We are in the South, so it's very, very warm, right? The climate is a hot climate. So you couple that with not having any power, right? You don't have air and things like that. It will mess with your mind, right? So I got to get into it. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that I am talking about this from an objective standpoint. Right. So where I am right now, let me give you guys my conditions. Where I am right now is very, very gloomy outside. It has been raining all night, all morning. And it's just a lot of rain. And usually that's what hurricanes are, a lot of rain, heavy winds. Like you can't leave things outside, of course, your chairs, barbecue pits, stuff like that. You got to bring that stuff in the house, right? So the only thing with hurricanes though is that you have an idea of when they may be coming, right? And now I have to say also with hurricanes, you increase the risk of like tornadoes. They'll tell you on the news, there may be tornado warnings and things like that. So you just have to be careful. But with a hurricane, they're gonna tell you probably at least a week before, maybe a week and a half, that we think this storm is developing. We think it's going to develop into a hurricane. Now, let me say, for me, y'all, I don't watch the news. I don't watch the news. I rarely watch TV. So anytime, it used to be before I had kids, it used to be that my grandmother would call me and she would say, "Oh, I've been watching news." Grandmas, they watch TV all day. They be on their CNN, they be on the news channels all day. At least my grandma. And she'll call, she say, "Oh, I'm checking on y'all because it's a storm coming." And so then I start getting on my phone. Or I'll have friends call me and say, "The storm coming." Or, a lot of times if like some of my colleagues, we are preparing for the storm, with clients and things like that. We'll, send out a message and all this stuff about how to prepare and all this, right? And so when I saw Liv's video, the first thing that struck me was that out the gate, you could tell she was upset. You could tell she was upset. You could tell she had probably been crying. It appeared that she had been crying. And she started to like break down in tears. And she's like, she doesn't want to be here right now. Now, based on and I have to say, based on the videos that I've seen, the reactions that I've seen about Liv's life, y'all, I ain't got that deep into the story, okay? I know some of the main things, but baby, these reactors be on Liv. They be on her. So that's why I wanted to make sure I started the video by saying I'm looking at this objectively, right? Um, and so she's probably, it seems like her anxiety is up a little bit. It appears that way because it's a storm, right? And she says she's like, I don't want to be here. Now, I heard a baby in the background. I believe her baby couldn't be any more than 6 months. So the first thing that came to my mind, and y'all look, I got my coffee. Y'all, it's such a gloomy day, but it's one of them days. It's like if you were like a rain person and the rain helps you sleep and it just puts you within that vibe with that mood, right? Then you would enjoy this weather. Also, too, because it's a little bit cooler outside. Because I'm telling y'all, it gets hot here. So yeah, so I heard the baby in the background, and first thing came to my mind was that she may be if if she got online and right away she started to cry, right? And she's like, I don't want to be here. I think that a lot of times when you have 6 month old, she may be experiencing a little bit of postpartum. And it doesn't have to be postpartum depression, it could be postpartum anxiety, right? Because even though she mentioned that, and I have my notes, y'all, she mentioned that this is her first time kind of going through this, right? But even though it's your first time going through this, I wouldn't expect that kind of response so early when kind of going live to talk to people and stuff like that, right? So I would imagine that she may already be dealing with something else, and this was kind of like the icing on the cake. You know what I mean? Like, I'm already dealing with this. Now I gotta figure this out. And it's like she couldn't hold it in, right? Um, the second thing was, what do I have here? Hold on, let me find it, y'all. Oh, she said that she was trying to move and now this happens. Well, sometimes some therapists are very I gotta put this out here first before I start this, before I go in. Um, you have some therapists who kind of guide you in a very empathic way with understanding, right? It's a certain modality for that. But you also have some who do that and they have that direct feedback kind of mixed in there. And some people need that. Some people need somebody who's going to be very direct with them to say, hey, basically like cut it out. Okay, cut it out. We knew this was going to happen. We knew there was a possibility this was going to happen. We are here now, so what are we going to do about it? And I feel like it seems like Olivia is one of those people that may need that. She needs a fire lit under her, you know what I mean? She needs someone to say, hey, get it together. And I don't know, there may be somebody in her life doing that. I don't know, especially because she has a little baby, right? And in times like this, when the weather is like this, it may seem minimal to some people, especially if you don't live on a coast, especially if you've never experienced a natural a storm or, things like that, having to prepare and all of that, right? It's easy for you to say, oh, she can just do this, whatever, right? But if you are already anxious about something, you already have anxiety about something, you already dealing with other things, it's going to be a little bit harder for that person. But it seems like she needs someone to be very direct with her. Now, having a therapist that's direct doesn't mean that the person is going to do it, because I'm not in control of your life. You know what I mean? Nobody can change, make you change but you, right? But I'm there to help you see, okay, how is the current behavior you're exhibiting or displaying beneficial to you? Like, is it helping your situation? Is it helping you get to the place that you want to be? Is it helping you meet your goals? If not, then you got to make some changes if you want to meet those goals, if you want to be in a different place. And if you don't, it's no one's fault but yours, right? And however, it's never too late to change. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, so she said, I'm trying to move and this happens. Well, things happen. That's life. Life happens. You know, you've got to, and nobody's saying either that you shouldn't be upset or shouldn't bother you or shouldn't tick you off. But it's okay, in my opinion, to kind of stay in that place. You give yourself a day or you give yourself a few hours, and then you got to snap out of it. Because again, you have a little baby to take care of. You know, you have goals to meet and things like that. You've got to step into mom mode. And anybody that gets into mom mode, baby, it's like you a super person. You look up, you like, dang, how I do all that? You didn't wash the dishes, you didn't did the laundry, baby. The floors mopped, floor swept and mopped. You didn't clean the tub. You didn't did everything. You like, dog, and don't even be tired. If you really mommy, you don't get tired. It's like you tired, but it's kind of like it's the norm. That's what you do. You see what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, you get frustrated at times, you get overwhelmed at times, but you know you got a job to do because they depend on you. Now, I will say, and I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, if I was Liv, I wouldn't have got on no live. Not knowing that I have a little baby, knowing that I'm a little bit anxious, knowing that this is my first time going through this, I wouldn't have been on live. I would have been preparing. And I'm a very, 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 my channel is minuscule compared to these people that's talking about Liv, baby. You hear me? But I hope she see this, because Liv, you still have time to prepare. I was once in a hurricane. I can't remember whatever hurricane was in 2017. It was my first time too. I had been here for years and had never been in a hurricane. The only hurricane that I heard about was Hurricane Andrew. And they said, oh my God, that was horrible. Some people didn't have power for a month. It was just really, really bad. And so in 2017, I had a little baby. My baby was probably was it 8 or 9 months? And, they said, prepare. Now, I'm the kind of person that I remember I told y'all I experienced postpartum anxiety. But I'm the kind of person, and maybe it's because I'm a therapist, but I would beg to differ, that if I'm prepared, my anxiety is reduced. So I prepare as much as I can, even though I still can't control it. It's almost like my way. And I would imagine a lot of people are like this. It's kind of, I know I can't control it, but this is kind of my way of controlling what I can, because I can't control no natural disaster. If the people say it's gonna come, then guess what? Okay, what I gotta do? Okay, I gotta make sure I got, my supplies and all of this stuff, right? So I wouldn't have been on live. Now, I did a car chat probably a few days ago. And what did I tell y'all? Y'all, they said the storm coming. And if you look at that car chat, baby, it's sunnier than a mother. It's so sunny in that car chat. I mean, the sun was beaming. It was nice outside, everything. But baby, them people was going to those stores to get their water, get their batteries, get their canned goods, they paper towels, they tissue, all of that, because the people told you already. It is a possibility. And guess what? If you buy it and then the storm don't come, then that just means you got extra supplies. That's all. You got extra. That means you ain't got to worry about going to the store or Sam's or whatever for a month or two to get you some paper towels, some tissue and soap and all of that stuff. You ain't got to worry about that because you done already stocked up. You see what I'm saying? So that's why my schedule has been all over the place, because I have to prepare for my family. Even though we don't know what's going to happen, we still have to prepare. So I probably would have been preparing, especially again because you have a little baby. Now, also, another thing, she was saying that she said she lives in an apartment and she has somewhere to go, but they live in a house. Now, two things. The first thing is that I'm trying to think, did I? No, I haven't. Okay, so the first thing is in apartments. Now, depending on where you are in Florida, right? It depends on what apartment building you stay in. Some apartment buildings, they're not hurricane ready. They don't have hurricane windows. Because that's a big thing, making sure that your windows and your doors are hurricane proof. Because those winds are very, very strong, right? Making sure that the roof is up to par. A lot of these buildings, I don't know if y'all heard about it, but probably I think that happened this year, early this year. I think it was, where there was a building in Miami, and this building was by the water. You know, a lot of people think when you in Miami and stuff like that, and you by the water, all you really think of is, like, I know I did before I kind of moved here, that, it's all these nice homes and, it's nice and posh and chic and all this stuff. Child, them buildings been nice since the 40s. Okay. And there was a building, I think this happened earlier this year, I think so, that there was a couple, I think they were in the garage of the building, and all of a sudden they started hearing water or something just kind of gushing out of somewhere. And y'all, the whole back of the building just collapsed. The whole back of that, and it was an apartment building. I think it might have been 3 or 4 stories, but the whole side of that apartment building collapsed. It was, after about 2 weeks, they were still hearing people yelling under the debris. And that wasn't due to no water, or that was just due to the building owners and stuff not keeping the building up to par, but collecting rent money, right? So you got to know where you live. If you live in a newer apartment building, most likely they will have some kind of hurricane windows, or their roof most likely is up to par and things like that. But if you live in an older building, or maybe like a condo or something, you never know, right? So Olivia, you got to take that into account. Like, know where you live. Like, do you feel like, even though you're high up, baby, because when I say Olivia's scared, baby. Olivia said, what if the water, what is Olivia said, what if it's a big wave? Olivia, do you live on the ocean? If you live on the coast, if you live on the coast, Olivia, that would be a concern. But if you don't live on the coast, that's less likely to happen. Now, you might have some, depending on where you live, you got to know where you live. Do you live in a flood zone? If you live in a flood zone, you're going to have some flooding. That's guaranteed. You heard me? That is guaranteed. You're going to have some flooding. Now, depending on how much rain they said, some people's cars might be flooded. And sometimes too, on certain streets, it could be the street that you live on or the apartment complex you're in is not flooded. But then when you drive to the next building or you drive to the next street, that street might be flooded. It just depends, but you got to know where you live, because that's how you will know how you need to prepare. Now they saying to evacuate, right? Now, my question on my thumbnail was, should she evacuate? Well, that's up to Olivia, y'all. You saw the people in Hurricane Katrina, they told them, listen, evacuate, evacuate. I wouldn't imagine it would be any different. This situation wouldn't be any different. From my understanding with Katrina, the reason why it was so devastating was because of those levees. The levees broke. And that's why it was so much water. If the levees hadn't broke, they probably would have had some flooding and things like that and power outages, but it probably wouldn't have been as devastating as it was. You see what I'm saying? So depending on where you live, Olivia, you got to know if you got hurricane windows, right? And if you don't have hurricane windows, then you need some shutters. People who don't have hurricane windows, you got to put them shutters up and close them shutters, because baby, once that wind come and you don't have them hurricane windows, it's a possibility they could break. And you got your little baby, you know what I'm saying? And yourself. So you got to know where you live. Now, you may be okay if you are in an apartment building, you live kind of you're not on the first floor or whatever. The worst that could probably happen if you live in a newer building with hurricane windows, or if they have shutters and they have a good roof and stuff like that, is your power is going to go out. Your power may go out, and you may not be able to go anywhere for the time being because the storm is still occurring. Sometimes when your power goes out. So like what happened with us the first time, I tell y'all my story, the first time I was in the hurricane, we were fine. We were fine. I think I was watching Game of Thrones. Baby, I watched that whole I think I watched that whole series during that storm. And I mean, you could hear the wind, and a tree from the neighbor's yard fell, because see, when you have a house and stuff, you have to move your cars closer to the house. You move your cars closer to the house and you get everything out the way, your chairs or whatever, anything that could be flying debris, you got to move all that stuff out the way, right? But you don't know what trees are loose. It's a lot of palm trees here, right? And some palm trees are very, very tall, right? And baby, they be swinging. They be swinging. And one of the trees fell on our roof from the neighbor's yard. So you can be good, right? You could have prepared all yourself. Everybody did their part. But baby, nature said this tree getting ready to fall. Okay. And so you could hear that tree on the roof. I mean, it was loud, y'all. I never been through that. And so we was like, well, dog, what ain't happening? But the power was still on. The power didn't go out, I think, until, was it the next morning? It might have been the next morning, I think. Yeah, I think it was the next morning. And now, if you've been running your air and stuff, you're going to be good. You're going to be good for probably, you might be able to last that day, for a day with your power out, right? With no air, because remember, it's going to be hot. You might be able to last about one day, but baby, because you can't, you don't have, unless you got them battery fans, that ain't, to me, that's not going to do anything. You don't, because they're not huge fans, you know what I'm saying? And all you're doing is circulating hot air. So you might be able to last about a day. And my baby was about 8 or 9 months. I told my husband, I said, we got to find somewhere to go. Now, remember, they told us to evacuate. They said, evacuate if you can. But where you have to take a lot of things into account. It's not easy to say, go ahead, yeah, we just going to leave. First of all, I mean, everybody, I'm sure, knows that you can't fly anywhere, right? The second thing is that if you live south, right, it takes about 7 hours to get out of the state because Florida is surrounded by water, right? So it's going to take you about 7 hours to get to Georgia, to get to Alabama or something like that. And you got to imagine everybody got the same idea you got to leave. So on that one highway, everybody's one highway. Think about it again. Think about gas. Everybody didn't trying to get gas. Now, what if you were at 7 hours and then you didn't run out of gas? Then what you gonna do? You're not even out of the state yet. Then on top of that, if you have a home, it's not easy, y'all. Because I was one of those people too. No, they tell me to leave, I'm gonna leave. But then if you own a home, y'all, if you own a home, you take that into account too because that is your home. It's not like you can because people do crazy stuff when storms occur. It's break-ins that happen, and I know you can't control those things, but to me I'm like we might as well stay watch out for our house or whatever, instead of trying to get on the road with a little baby, because when you're on the road with a little baby, you got to stop here and there, then you got to worry about if gas is going to be available. Like, it's just too much. You might as well try to thug it out. And so that's what we did. Now, the second day, the lights went out, and we were able to last probably, I can't even remember, y'all. I can't even remember. But so we said, okay, we got to find somewhere to go. Now we had supplies, we had water, we had batteries, we had all that flashlights and all that stuff, right? Um, and this is why it's important too to have some type of support where you are, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be, you have to have some type of social network. To where if something like that does happen, you have somebody to lean on. And luckily, we have friends and stuff where their power didn't go out because everybody's power may not go out. And then some people have generators and stuff like that. And so we were able to go stay with. We didn't stay with them. We went there for a few hours, and then we were able to find a hotel like way out. And we had to stay in the hotel for a week. It took a week for our power to come back on. And we were driving back and forth every day, checking on our home, making sure everything was okay and stuff like that. So Olivia, now during that time, I was like, dang, like this is crazy, like what we gonna do? But I had to snap out of it because I had a baby. And I said, okay, well, let me tap into my resources. Let me try to call this place. Let me call this place. Let me make sure. So this is why now that was my first time. So I said, no, next time I got to make sure I have this, and that. The first thing you should have made sure of, Olivia, was to make sure that you have enough formula for that baby. Because you don't know how long the power is going to be out. Right? You don't know how long that power is going to be out, and you don't know if you're going to be able to drive your car anywhere. Most likely, like you, and she mentioned that when she went to the store, the people was fighting over the fence. Baby, these people get crazy when it's a storm. And I'm surprised because last week when they said the storm was coming, that's where I live. That's when the people start going to the store. Baby, it don't be nothing on the shelf. They take it all. They take it they don't have any more water, paper towel, anything they could think of that they want to buy that they want to take from other people. Because no, they don't think about like, oh, another family might need this, or like they just take excess for no reason. But you had to make sure that you had, that would have been the first thing I was looking for, was some formula to make sure I had enough formula for at least a couple weeks for that baby, because you don't know if you're going to run out. And along with that, water, you know how they had a nursery water and stuff like that, you would have had to stock up on those, right? And you still got time, Olivia, because they said, what's this 11:30? I think today Tuesday, tomorrow is when it's supposed to really hit. Because I heard she was in her video by Tampa. Then she was playing the news and they were saying Tampa and stuff like that, right? So I assume she lives somewhere in the area. I don't know. I would only assume that based on what I heard in the video, that probably tomorrow is when they're really going to get the brunt of the storm, right? So you got time today, Olivia, to go and get the stuff that you need. It's probably raining a lot there or getting ready to rain. The winds are probably starting to pick up a little bit, right? Especially by 4 p.m., Olivia, you need to have all of your supplies. Because after that, that's when those winds gonna start picking up and you need to be in the house or wherever you're gonna be. Um yeah, so she said that she lives in an apartment, but she said something about her family lives, um, they live by the water. If you that's in my opinion, that wouldn't be a safe place to go. I wouldn't, because if you live right there by the ocean, like if you live on the ocean, like you know what I mean, like on the coast, like water, sand, the street to drive on, and then your house, I would be evacuating. I would be evacuating because but usually now where I live, if it's if it's ocean, sand, the street you drive on and houses, those houses are not owned by regular people. Those are, I mean, these are mansions. You know what I mean? These are mansions. These are maybe a family do. Maybe they have, but I wouldn't be staying. I don't care what it would be. A mansion, high rise. I wouldn't be staying because sometimes too, with those high rises on the beach and stuff like that, and the power go out, the elevator don't work, girl. I wouldn't be going over there. If those people, because they'll tell you based on what zone you live in, when you look at that news, or like for me, since I don't watch the news, I download my local news app on my phone. And baby, if something turn with that storm or something get ready, they're gonna send you a text. And it's gonna say Hurricane Ian strengthening. You have 3 hours to prepare, or whatever it might be. They're gonna send you the text. So instead of sitting watching the news all day, go out, get your supply for you and that baby. And they're gonna download that app for your local news, and they're gonna send you the information you need about where the storm is, when it's coming, how much time you got to do this, instead of sitting there watching it, being upset, and talking to the people on live. Because that ain't gonna do to make you even more upset, really, because it may be information. A lot of the information may be coming from people who've been through it before, but it's not their first time, right? So you're going to get even more anxious about what they're saying. And then the second thing is that people who have never been through it before or live on the coast, they're going to say, girl, you need to leave, and you're going to start getting scared. I said, I said, this lady right here, Olivia, oh my God. So she said too, people telling her different things. Like I just said, some people, they never been through this. So you can't really go by what they say because they never been through it. You know what I mean? And then the people that have, like some of my friends, they had been through Andrew. And they was like, oh, everybody, when they go to the store and prepare, they get a whole bunch of meat. They get a whole bunch of meat to barbecue. They be barbecuing. They basically have like block parties because ain't nobody got no power. And it's kind of like you make the best of it. You make the best of it. But I feel like it appears to me, and I'm gonna say this, based. Don't get mad at me, y'all. I'm gonna say this based on what I've seen on her videos and also what I've heard from, and you can't you can't really go by, sometimes reactors and stuff because they just reacting. It's entertainment. But I feel like that's what Black people do. We make the best of it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we got a storm. We already know the power not getting ready to come back on. What we getting ready to do? So a lot of them, they like, oh, we barbecue, have a block party, everybody get together, have a little drink or whatever, and just make the best of it. And then before you know it, the power is back on. You know what I mean? But that's for people who have been through it before, who probably have been living here a long time. They already kind of know what to expect. They prepare for the worst and hope for the best. You know what I mean? So, but Olivia already has some type of anxiety. She said she was thinking about her kids. And that's the next thing I kind of wanted to go to, y'all. Excuse me, that she said she was thinking about her kids. Now, it seems like she has the one baby there, and her other kids, are not with her. I would imagine she would be thinking about them at this time, right? I don't know what the thoughts are, though. Are the thoughts that because they're not with her, if they're not with her, they are safe. They're in a safe place. What you can do though is call them, and they may not even know that it's a hurricane getting ready to come where you are. And you might want to keep it that way because you don't want them worried about you and stuff like that because you're gonna be okay, Olivia. Olivia act like the people said. Olivia act like the people said, girl, if you don't get up out of here, we don't know. Like you're gonna be fine, Olivia. You're just gonna have to rough it out. And maybe you're not a person who has ever had to rough it out. Like it seems like it appears that you're not. But but based on the information that you share with not having your kids and stuff like that, like it would appear that you're a person that has never been through a challenge, but you have. But you have. So maybe, this is a different type of challenge, but you have had to go through things and more difficult things than this if you don't have your children with you. You see what I'm saying? So you're gonna be fine. But you can call them if you're thinking about them. Call them, see what they doing, or whatever. Let me see. Okay. So yeah, her kids are safe. So I wouldn't be, really kind of focusing on that if I was her. Now, one thing, now this is what I know I talked a little bit about how she should prepare for the storm because Olivia still has time to prepare. Olivia still has time to get the things that she needs, right? So they have when Olivia, when you download that app for your local news, they're gonna have a thing on there to say, or you can look it up online. While you on live, you can look up online hurricane preparedness list or hurricane plan, or baby, it's gonna be so many of them that come up. And when you look, it's gonna tell you all the stuff you need. It's gonna tell you like the basic stuff that you need, right? But the first thing you should do, what I talked about before, is you got to know what zone you're in. Are you in a flood zone? Are you in a zone where they say absolutely you have to evacuate? The storm we had in 2017, it was if you live on the coast, like if it's ocean, sand, street, your house, you need to get up out of here, right? If you live west of this highway, you should be fine. You see what I'm saying? You may lose power or you may see some flooding, stuff like that. And they go by the zones. So know what zone you're in, Olivia, and that will tell you too what you need to do if you need to leave, or you're gonna have to stay and thug it out if you stay, but if they telling you if you live on the coast, you have to leave, there is no chance for you to be able to get through this. You're going to lose your property, possibility of losing life. You have got to go. There ain't no trying to reason with that, right? So know your zone. Your emergency kit. Olivia, why don't you already have an emergency kit anyway? Like anytime you have kids, like you gotta have some kind of kit, like at least have a flashlight. Because as much as it rains in Florida, the power could go out at any time. It don't have to be a hurricane. Like you gotta have don't you got a flashlight already, or don't you have batteries? Don't you know that if your apartment has hurricane windows, do you need to get shutters? Sometimes people you'll see people at Home Depot and they get those wood board, they get wood or whatever, and they get it cut based on the measurements of their windows, and they board up the windows and stuff like that. It's some people I never understood the reason why people do this. Maybe y'all can enlighten me. It be people that put tape on their windows, like masking tape, and they'll put it in like a X or like put it in all different ways, thinking that the window not gonna break. I don't understand that. I don't know. Maybe it's another reason why they do that. I don't understand that. So yeah, so you need to have an emergency kit. Now, I don't know how long Olivia has been living in Florida. And this could be too, because I thought about this. I Has she only been living here this year? And if so, has her family always lived in Florida? If so, then they know about hurricanes. They know about how to prepare for hurricanes. They know what the people are saying you need and what you don't need and stuff like that. Um, those are people that she can kind of lean on, hopefully. Um let's see. You can also kind of get together as a family and kind of talk about, okay, if this happens, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? Will we leave? If it's like, because some people say, okay, if it gets to a category 3, then we're going to leave. Now, Olivia mentioned on the video, she was like, they keep changing it every minute. They saying something different. Yeah, because this is a nature. We don't know what nature gonna do. They can only predict. Now they could say, "Oh my gosh, it's the worst storm we could ever seen," just like they told us last week. That's why I said, "Okay, well, let me go ahead and get my stuff." Then they came back a day later, 2 days later, and said, "Oh, it's just going to be a tropical storm for this area." Okay, cool. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Whatever. But so they don't know, Olivia. They can only guess based on the system machines or whatever they have to figure out, the weather models and all this stuff, what category is going to be. But you still got to be prepared because your power could still go out even though it's not a major hurricane. Based on the heavy rain, it's been raining and raining and raining, and then some of that wind, your power could still go out. So you still got to be prepared, right? So, I mean, I don't know. You gotta do better, Olivia. Review your insurance information. So Olivia mentioned that she had, like her important things, packed in a bag and stuff like that. That's good, Olivia, to make sure, okay, I need to have this, your paperwork or like your insurance cards, your license and all this stuff, right? Make sure you review your insurance if you have rental insurance and all that stuff. But she said it's some things that can't be replaced. You're right. But you rather have that or the life. Who cares about some pictures? I'm sure you got millions of pictures downloaded on your phone. Millions of them. You can get them suckers printed out again, and wherever you're gonna be staying next, get them printed out and put them right back on the wall. Them same pictures. Them same pictures. So that for me, it wouldn't be a concern about that's like little stuff. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you got enough to eat. You got to make sure you have enough water. Got to make sure you got flashlights. Make sure you charging up your phone, your laptop, any device you got. Make sure you charge that sucker up because once it go out and you don't have no power, you stuck. And then make sure that you update sorry y'all, make sure that you download the app. That is like key for real, because when you watch the news, they to me news anyway, that's why I don't watch it, because they be putting extra sauce on stuff, and I ain't got time for that. And then you look up, you've been watching and watching, and then you trying to listen for the nuances they say saying about the storm. Okay, well, they said it was category 3, but then this man on this channel said, no, it might go to a category 2. Um, but we gonna check again this evening. Then when the evening come, they say, oh, very, tropical winds, tropical storm, just a lot of rain. Girl, 2 minutes later, that sucker could be a category 5. So let me know when y'all figure out what y'all gonna do. When y'all figure out what it really is, and y'all just ain't trying to get ratings on y'all news show all night. Folks sitting there watching the news all night, trying to figure out what this storm is. When you already know it's coming your way. Okay, when y'all figure out what y'all gonna do, text me and let me know. That's exactly why I got that app on there. And let's see what it say. It'll say it's like a tracker. It say Hurricane in category 3. We already know what category it is. We know that's not the best case scenario, but it's not the worst, right? And then it tells you what the warnings are. I'm finna look now. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it's by the category 3 in the Tampa area. It looks like somewhere near like yeah, that whole area is like category 3. And then once it starts to get inland a little bit, first, and once it starts to get inland, in the beginning, it looks like category 4, and then it's gonna turn into a category 3. Once it gets to like Orlando and stuff like that, then it'll probably start going down a little bit. Yeah, Orlando, Daytona, all those places. So yeah, like you got to get your stuff, Olivia. You still have time. You still have time to make sure that you are prepared. Please, that now they do have shelters that you could go to. They have shelters, but sometimes like if you absolutely have to, because like with the sea going on and people, stuff like that, you really don't want to do that. But if you don't have a choice, just like the people in Hurricane Katrina, like if you don't have a choice, that's where you have to go. You know what I'm saying? But if you prepare well, you should be fine. And if the power is not out for a long period of time, but the only thing I worry about with Olivia is because she had the baby, and you can't have a baby in that heat like that. That was the only thing. When my bad to my husband, I was like, we probably could stand it, for maybe another day. And even me, baby, because when I get hot, I be mad. I be like, oh, it's too hot in here. I can't do it. I can't do it. It ain't no amount of cold water. It ain't no amount of fans and none of that. You can go sit outside, but guess what? It's hot and humid out there too. It's hot and humid out there too, y'all. Believe me. So, and then it's been raining too. And once that hurricane gone, the rain stop, baby, that sun gonna come out beaming. You hear me? And it's gonna be even hotter. It's gonna be even hotter. So even more hot. So my only concern is Olivia got that baby. And again, Olivia, if you live in an area where they told you to evacuate, please evacuate, because you have the little baby with you. Or if you can go somewhere, someone's home, a friend's home, especially if your power goes out, because then too, when the power go out, you got to watch where you're driving, because power lines come down. Like, it's a lot, y'all. So you want to make sure wherever you're going to be that you're already there before the storm comes. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to family's place and stuff like that, just make sure you got all your supplies. Ask them, do they need anything? Don't go to somebody's house empty-handed. Bring something that could help too. Get some games, get Uno, get some checkers or whatever, some backgammon, whatever it is. And bring with you so y'all can entertain yourselves, get some cards and stuff like that until this whole thing kind of blow over. So Let me see, y'all. Um, so Olivia, a couple more things, and then I'm gonna get up out of here. So Olivia said that she feels alone and unprotected. And I feel like if you are by yourself, like if you don't have some type of partner or something like that, then that is a normal response when the unexpected is occurring. Like you don't really know what's going to happen. You can't control what is happening, right? You don't know if the storm is going to go one way or the other. But what's not going to help you feel protected is sitting just looking at the news. You gotta do something. You know what I'm saying? Because if you feel alone and protected and unprotected, that's what it is. Like watching the news is not going to change that. You see what I'm saying? If that's how you feel. So we can worry about the feelings of feeling like you alone and unprotected later at a later date. Right now, we got to make sure that this baby got their food, and you got your food, and y'all got y'all water, and supplies and things like that. Um, and even if you had somebody there, because I don't know if she just means that in general, or she means that she doesn't have like someone there to protect her or to do these things for her, like go and get the supplies, or maybe she doesn't want to be doing that. But it seems appears to me you're a single mom, right? So you got to do it. Who else is going to do it? Who else is going to do it? It'd be nice to have somebody to say, okay, we got to prepare, and go get the sand, and then go get the water and all this stuff while you take care of the kids. But it appears that you don't have that. So we already kind of know that. So now what are you going to do? You already know that. What are you going to do now? So that's why I said before, it seems like she needs somebody that's very direct with her, that's going to light a fire on her to say, hey, like basically like snap out of it. You know, it's a storm. This is what could happen, and this is what we got to do, and we're going to go do it, you know. Um, so yeah. Also, sometimes with storms, and this may not be Olivia, but just in general, sometimes when you see these natural disasters and things like that, some studies have been done to show that it increases, of course, your anxiety response. You're a little bit more anxious now. You may experience PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, based on the after effects of the storm and what your situation looks like. Some people lose their belongings, they lose their homes, their means of transportation, and things like that. And so there may be some PTSD related to that. And then also some studies show that there is an increase in alcohol use, during and after the storm. But I told y'all, my friends, they told me, hey, when they said the storm coming, baby, they go to the liquor store and they buy up all the all the rum, okay? They buy it all up. They make all kind of drinks and stuff like this, but you get to a place where you're doing that, and then now after the storm, you see you've lost everything. Think about those people, y'all. In Katrina, they are still probably dealing with the after effects, and that was in what I'm not going to say because I don't want to get that date, that year incorrect. I feel like 2007. I feel like it was, or 2005. Was it two? No, it couldn't have been 2005. 2007. They are still dealing with the after effects of that storm. You hear people say that now when they go to New Orleans, it's not the same, right? They trying to get that back, but it's, based on what happened with that storm, people who had lived there for years and years and years lost their lives. They had to relocate to places that they probably sometimes had never been. And with other places as well that have experienced storms, Puerto Rico and things like that, places like that, right? These people, have to basically start their lives over. Now, you depends on your perspective, your mind frame, right? Just like with Olivia. Okay, it's not a situation you want to be in, but we're in the situation. So us kind of dwelling on what's not happening or why it's not better, that's not going to help us. You got to change, you got to reframe, right? Remember in my previous live or video, I talked about reframing, right? Looking at your situation from a different perspective, right? I wish, it would be different if I had somebody here to kind of help me, get this stuff ready for this storm. But guess what? I'm the only one here, and all this, and not that you have to show people and prove to people anything or whatever, right? But if you're in the midst of, you say that I'm gonna get my children back. This is what Olivia has been saying. I've heard her say this, it's going to happen, right? These are the things that you show people to show them that I can be a great mom. Like, if this was happening and your children were in your care, I would probably be concerned, Olivia. Because now could go two ways. They could be there with you, and you could turn into Supermom and say, "Okay, Hurricane 2005." I knew it was because I was like, "Man, 2005, that was a long time ago." Thank you, Miller. And these people are still dealing with that. They're still dealing with it, you know? And they did lose everything, you know what I'm saying? Family members, uh material things, their home. It could have been their childhood home. I you can't imagine going through something like that. Um and I you can't blame anyone for not leaving. Because I know, even for, like, say for instance, like my grandmother or something like that, it's some people, like, okay, look at it like this. Some people who have acquired money and stuff like that, they try to go back and they buy their mom's homes. Now the mom, they probably want the new home. But the grandma, she don't want to, she want to stay right in her house where she's safe. She know where everything is, she know her pots and pans, she want her old school stuff. That's just how they are. So to have to leave that, it's like they don't want to leave because that's their home. You see what I'm saying? If that makes any sense, like, it's not easy for people to say, "Oh yeah, we going somewhere new," because it's hard to change. Is hard. It's hard to adapt. But to me, especially if you are a person who has never had to go through anything, if you are a person that has never had to overcome major challenges, it's going to be hard for you because you're not used to it. You're not used to it, right? That's just like somebody who if you have always been the kind of person who, okay, you apply for a job, you get the interview or whatever, and you always get the job. Once you get that interview, you know you got the job. Baby, then all of a sudden you gotta have 10, 20 interviews, 15, 20 interviews, and you still not getting a job. It's gonna affect you in some kind of way up here. Because you're not used to that type of result. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I mean, I would imagine Olivia is not in a good place already because she don't have her kids. I talked about this before. She can show this camera one thing, but as a mom, I don't care who you are. I don't care what challenges you're going through. I don't care. Like, I can't. I've never met a mom, and I work with moms who've had their children taken away from them, who didn't at least try 1 ounce to do what they need to do to get them back. Who didn't want at one point let me know, hey, I miss my kids. So, and some of the people that I work with were young moms, right? And you get the ones where that first couple of days, maybe that first couple of weeks, you don't hear from them. They not returning the therapist call. They out partying, honey. But then when the reality hit that them kids not coming back, they not just gone for a day or two. They not just gone for overnight or the weekend. Oh, baby, you finna feel a type of way. And you are down. You feel so down and sad about it. Right. And then that's when they want to call and set an appointment and things like that and try because they're not coming back. They're not coming back. Not until you do what you're supposed to do. So this to me for Olivia would have been the time to show everybody, okay, y'all, I got the baby. I'm getting ready to go to Costco, wherever, Sam's, wherever. I gotta load up on this, and this, and be grateful, change the perspective that your kids are not there with you because when you trying to go to Costco and Sam's stuff, then you would have had to take all them with you with all them people in the store and folks fighting over fans and folks fighting over water and this. You only got that one with you, right? So now is the time to show, hey, I can do this. I can get through this challenge, by myself. We're gonna be just fine. Y'all, we following what they said. They told us to evacuate. Okay, figure out where you're gonna go. Figure out where you're going to go, figure out where you're going to get gas from, download those apps to tell you, because when it's hurricanes and stuff, I forget the name of the app, y'all. I wish I could remember it because I would definitely say it. There are apps that show you where the gas stations are that have gas that are near you. You download your apps, make sure your phone charged up, your laptop, all of that charged up. Make your baby some pre-made bottles, put them on ice and stuff like that, and you good. Go to your family house, play you some checkers, some backgammon or whatever, some whatever you play, Uno, whatever it is, and then you're gonna be fine. So those are my thoughts about it, y'all. I had to react to that only because too, like I said, I'm in an area where I'm being affected by the storm. And I said, let me get on this thing because maybe the power could go out at any time. But honey, I'm prepared. Okay. I'm prepared. I got my water. I got the little tablet charged up, child. I got my laptop. All that stuff is charged up. Okay. And then I'm just gonna enjoy the rain. Enjoy the rain. So yeah, so hopefully Olivia, like I said, she has today to get everything together. I hope that she does, for her sake and the baby's sake, and most importantly for her mental health, y'all. So I hope also that I was able to bring some value to this to you all today regarding mental health and natural disasters and storms and how we can kind of be affected by it, and some things that you can do to prepare. So if you got value from it, please make sure you like the live. Thank you all who have subscribed thus far. And if you haven't, what are you waiting on? This channel is all about mental health. This is where you can get your questions answered for yourself or someone else. I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.